In Mesopotamia, she's called Ishtar. When she went into the Greek land, she was called Aphrodite, and then Venus. She is all over. And she's mentioned specifically there. Now, in the Canaanite mythology, she's actually the wife of Baal. So Baal has a wife. Okay? And so when Baal comes, the next one to come, it says in the Bible, says Baal, then it says Ashtoreth. Then she's coming in. So what this means is once the door is open, she is the goddess of sexuality, of sexual immorality. She's the goddess, she's actually called a prostitute. She's the goddess who her temples were filled with sexuality. It was made it public. So if she returns, what would happen? If she comes out, it means that America is going to undergo a sexual revolution. That is the sign of the possession of Ishtar, or this goddess. And the thing is, so sex comes, what she did, what a prostitute is she actually damages marriage. She actually weakens marriage. That's what happens. Brings sexuality into the culture. In ancient times in Israel, in the Middle East, she put her images of naked people all over the culture. And so not only she was in her Greek form, she gave birth to a child named Eros. We get the word erotica. So erotica starts flooding America. The word for prostitute, which is what she was, in her Greek incarnation is the word porne. We get the word porn from it. So there's an explosion of pornography all over the culture. So what Baal does, in one sense, she's repaganized, she's overturning biblical standards of sexuality and marriage, and she is paganizing our culture through sexuality and through possessing it. And she's also the goddess of spells and witchcraft. So she casts her spell on America, and we are still in it to this day. And it goes further, Sid, because something strange about the goddess, and that has to do with gender. Because what she also did, let me tell you, in her ancient inscriptions, I'm looking at these ancient inscriptions, she says, I am a woman, I am a man. It says, it's said in her hymns, it says she has the power to transform a man into a woman and a woman into a man. So what's going to happen? Wow. What's going to happen if she comes into the culture? You're going to start seeing what she's going to do is she's going to start masculinizing women, defeminizing women, and feminizing men. That touches everything. I mean, it touches our culture, touches the roles, touches radical feminism and sexuality. And so all this stuff that we're having, saying, how could this happen? This is all the goddess. It's all there. It even goes further. She had a priesthood. Her priests, listen to this, in her temples they were men who dressed up as women. And they acted as women, dressed up. So what's going to happen if she comes back? What's going to happen is, as she possesses a culture, is that men will start dressing. We'll start seeing that in our culture, which we do. These are her ancient priesthood. Also, they were involved in same-sex sexuality. We see that explosion as well. Also, it says, remember, she says she turns men into women, transitions them, and women into men. Many of her priests were actually surgically altered. And she especially, all the gods, but they go after the children. Because if you have the children, you have the future. And so that happened in ancient times, happening now. And so you think, what would possess an adult to do this to children? Well, what would possess it? The spirit. The spirit of the goddess. And I'm going to go even farther, because this is mind-boggling. And that is that the goddess was in charge, she was a goddess of parades. She had parades happening all over. And when I looked at the ancient inscriptions of the parades, it describes them, and it says in the parades, the men would dress up as women in the parades, the women would dress as men. It would be a parade of gender bending, and that's exactly when you see this happening now, that's the sign of the goddess. And Sid, it's even like more mind-boggling, because I'm looking at this, and I look at the ancient observers, and they said, when did this thing happen? They said it happened, even St. Jerome, it happened in the month, they called it in Latin, Junium. June was the month of the goddess. She claimed a month, June, and